I mean, that might upset a few Bongi fans, right?
Might do. Well, bring it on, that's all I'll say. Yeah.
I live in South Africa, if anyone's wondering.
All right, Jack. So next up, we've got the hookers. I mean, such an interesting position group over the last sort of 5, 6 years. How much they've changed in terms of what you require from your hooker. And again, similar to the props, it very much comes down to how your team plays, whether you want more of a distributor or you want one of those really rock solid scrummaging hookers. So I guess we've got a nice mix of them in our list here. I'll go first on this one. And again. I'm going to be accused of being a homer, but for me, Dan Sheehan is the best hooker in the world when fit and firing. Again, like Furlong in November, you can just see how much Ireland miss him. Ronan Keller is a very solid player. Gus McCarthy looked brilliant and was very good at under 20s, but Sheehan is still just miles ahead. What he brings around the park, what he brings to the line out, the Irish line out's just been just a disaster since pre-World Cup. But it always looked better when Sheehan's there. So for me, I'm putting Sheehan in as one of my top five hookers. Who have you got? Or
Well, I'm going to
anyway.
sort of match you on the Homer allegations. This is up steps Jamie George, part of the Saracens dynasty, been one of the best hookers in the world for the past 10 years, as far as I'm concerned. His darts are simply superb, always on the money. He's a prolific try scorer. He's a natural leader. And the very fact is, England and Saracens wouldn't have achieved the success that they have done in the past without Jamie George. It's very easy to spot what he brings when he's not in the game. When he's been taken off or he's injured or not picked, whatever the case is, that's when you really see the big gap that Jamie George leaves. So as hookers go, he is an Englishman like myself, but I'm going to have to pick him. In he goes.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of Sarries in England, obviously, there's that nice 1-2 punch with Theo Dan coming off, who I think is a heck of a player, very special talent coming through, similar to Sheehan and one of those explosive ball carrying, ball playing hookers. So, and obviously you got Luke Cowan-Dickie with the England team, and what a comeback for him. You know, just a few years removed from essentially being told by the top 14 that he couldn't play down there with his injuries. But now he's just looking brilliant once again, and very much in for a shout with the Lions. So yeah, no arguments here. I think George kind of gets in just for his body of work. He's just consistently excellent, like you said. You know, he's not going to blow you away as much as he did in his younger years, but he's still phenomenal.
I don't know, mate. He's still got a line break or two in him. He's got a fair
Yeah,
boot as well.
yeah, but maybe from 20, not 40 like he used to, you know. So it's
Nah. I reckon he'd go faster, but 50,
maybe,
60.
maybe from memory, he owns a physio company, so he might just be getting a ridiculous amount of treatment. But yeah, no arguments here. Definitely in amongst them. Again, going with a Springbok for me, Malcolm Marx. I said about Sheehan being the best hooker in the world. I mean, it's very much nip and tuck with Marx, who's just world class. I mean, for me, the best breakdown hooker in the world. So powerful, gets over the ball, nobody's shifting him. Really interesting. Any other country, he starts every week, but because the Springboks have Bongi and Banambi, they want to get that extra punch from Marks, who for me is significantly better than Banambi as the hooker. But I think for me, he's one of the very best hookers in the world. So not sure if you have any arguments there. Again, runs a really good line out, rock solid scrummager, and just brilliant all round.
I mean, that might upset a few Bongi fans, right?
Might do. Well, bring it on. That's all I'll say. Yeah, there we go.
We'll see. Pop it in the comments, everyone. See, tell us what you think there.
I'll put Jack's address in this for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I live in South Africa, if anyone's wondering. So my final one on here, I'm actually going to go for an Argentinian. Not necessarily because of his playing skill, which is world class, more for his leadership on the field. Now this is Julian Montoya, the Argentinian captain. He had some struggles with Argentina. Sort of I think it was the World Cup semi-final. They had a sort of devastating loss to the All Blacks. And in that press conference afterwards, he was crestfallen because of how he had to sort of pull his team along and really stand up, be the man they counted on. And I think that's the sort of man that you need going into the games, especially as hookers so often nowadays are seen as leaders and generally have big personalities. And I think Julian Montoya is, of course, one of the very best in the world at that. So he is a man that you want in your side.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. He wasn't on my list, but I mean, now that you say it, he's a phenomenal player, and again gets through just mountains of work. I mean,
Mm.
he is among the chief poachers for the Pumas, and like you said, what a turnaround by the Pumas, right? From that World Cup semi-final, where let's be honest, it was a bit of an embarrassment to get, absolute. They just got their pants pulled down by the All Blacks essentially, but to then go away, beat New Zealand in New Zealand, beat South Africa, and obviously they had one hiccup against the Wallabies that really cost them a genuine shot at the Rugby Championship. But to put yourself in a position where you could win it was phenomenal. I mean, they beat all three teams this year. Came very close against Ireland, and obviously France was a step too far for them, but they did annihilate Italy. So it's been a good year under Felipe Contepomi, and Montoya is key to that. So no arguments here from me. Even though he wasn't on my list. For me, I am going to go with Toulouse and France hooker Peyoto Mavaka, who again, I must just have a soft spot for the dynamic hookers. He is something else with ball in hand. Now, again, similar to South Africa, France have a brilliant 1-2 punch with him and Julian Marchand. They're just such different players that it gives sort of Toulouse and France a really interesting different look. So that's where I've gone on that side of things. It was nip and tuck between him and Cody Taylor for me for that spot, but I'm going to go with Mo Vaca. So how are you feeling on that?
I completely forgotten about Malvaca. So that is summing that one up. Do you know, I'd stick Malvaca midway through. I'd put him at three. Um, I'd probably have Marks at one, but I'm not overly pressed on either. So it'd be Sheehan or Marks at one, um, Malvaca at three, George at four, and Montoya at five.
Yeah, I'm
What do you
similar. I
reckon?
I think I only put Sheehan at one ahead of Marks because he plays so much more and he plays a bigger role for Ireland, therefore has more time to shine than Marks. I mean, Marks brings a brilliant impact. He's a double World Cup winner. I mean, it's very hard. But again, I tried to park what the teams have done and focus in on the individuals really. I think the Springboks as a collective are far and away the best team in the world at the moment. But in terms of just going off the hooker position, for me, it goes Dan Sheehan, then I go Malcolm Marks number two. I'm going to go Mo Vaca number three, like you said, George four, and then we'll go Montoya five. So I think we're kind of in agreement there. I think it's 1A, 1B with Sheehan and Marks. It just depends what flavor you prefer. So yeah, that's our hooker position.
Nice. Lovely. Well, we got an Englishman in there finally. There we go.
I mean, by hook and crook, really, I think, mate, by hook and crook. Very good.
More crook than hook, yeah.
Very good.